In this short tutorial, I'll show you how to use the cosine law to solve a triangle. Unlike the sine law, the cosine law is employed whenever you have the following two configurations: side angle side, and when the triangle has all three sides and no angles. There are three variants of the cosine law, but the most common is written right here. The other two variants are easy to derive. If you have this memorized, the other two are easy to derive, and they start like this. A squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine big A, and also b to the power of 2 a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine b. And it helps to memorize one of them. Let's move on to our first example. Here we are asked to determine the angle of C in the triangle BCD. You'll notice that this triangle is a candidate for the cosine law because you have side, 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 and absolutely no angles. In our case, they are asking us to solve for C, and you'll notice that in the original three equations that were provided, they used A, B, and C. So if your triangle has three different letters, feel free to change them to A, B, and C. So in our case, I'm going to change this D into A. And the reason why I'm doing this is just so that you are more familiar with how to mix and match the letters when it comes to using the formula. So we are asked to find C, and we're going to use the formula C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2 times AB cosine big C. And that's our target. That said, we can now plug and play. We know that angle B has the side length of 650, which is the small b. And the small a is 500 and the small c is 750. So let's place those values into our formula. (500) 650 cosine big C, which is what we're looking for, our target. And now what we'll do is bring over these two terms, 500 squared minus 650 squared. Now, just to be clear, we move this one and this one over, and we are left with, on the right side, negative 2 times 500 times 650 cosine C. Now, the best mode of action is to next, don't evaluate this part. I mean, if you're not good with your calculator, then go ahead and evaluate it. Find out the number that represents the left side. But if you do have a modern calculator, all you have to do is divide now both sides by this. And there's a reason why I'm suggesting this. So divide both sides by this, this, and this multiplied. Notice how I'm doing it on both sides. And what I would suggest, now look, this and this will cancel out, so you're left with cosine C on the right side. The reason why this is being suggested is you open yourself up to less error. Now, if you were to evaluate this and then wrote out the decimal number, and if you were to evaluate this and wrote out the decimal number, you might run into some differences in the final answer. So by doing it all at once, you ensure that that doesn't happen. Watch. 750 to the power of 2 minus 500 to the power of 2 minus 650 to the power of 2 bracket divided by negative 2 500 times 650. And we end up with 0.169 And it's always appropriate to leave 4 decimal places, so 92 is equal to cosine C. So does that mean our angle is this small? No way. Now what you have to do is use inverse trigonometric functions, and I have a video dedicated to this where you use the inverse of cosine to find out what this decimal number represents. And our calculator is programmed to do this. Cosine, inverse cosine of 0.1692. This ratio represents 80.25 degrees. Let's move on to question 2. And it's always nice to conclude, so angle C, therefore, is equal to 80.25 degrees. In question 2, we're asked to determine the length of n in triangle MNP. So they want us to find this length, and since our triangle is not configured as A, B, and C, it's always nice to do that. This will be our A, this will be our B, and this will be our C. So in other words, they want us to find B. And you're going to use the variant that looks like this. B squared is equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine B. So you have to memorize at least one of them to be able to derive all of them. And we will replace, well, that's what we're looking for, and since we changed that to big B, this is technically little b. So we're not going to replace this with anything, we're just going to leave it the way it is. Little a is 13 squared, it's this one, plus little c is 25 squared, minus 2 times little a times 25 cosine 105. Now these are the types of questions that are favorable to students because all you really have to do is multiply everything out here, and you can do it all in one shot in your calculator. So let's do that. 13 squared plus 25 squared minus 2 times 13 times 25 times cosine 105 degrees is equal to this huge number, 962.23 b squared, and we're going to square root both sides because we want to isolate for b, not b squared. If we square root both sides, we end up with the square root of this is equal to 31.01 centimeters. Awesome. So there you have it. That is how to use the cosine law when it comes to solving oblique triangles. Just to summarize what you'll need to memorize this formula, and you'll need to memorize these two configurations in order for you to figure these questions out. If you found this tutorial helpful, please support our channel by subscribing or by liking this video. If you have any further questions, you may visit our website at biology-forums.com. We are an online service for students seeking free homework help. See you soon.